Good evening, everybody. The Global Trade Advisory Committee regular meeting for Wednesday, December 16th, 2020. Of course, we're meeting virtually. We'll call this meeting to order as the chair, and I will ask Ms. Ames to do the roll call.
Ethan Baker.
Here.
Lisa Bika-Grotsky.
Here.
Mavita Burris. Ani Fakori.
Here.
Caitlin Howe.
Here.
Allison Liu.
Here.
Saida Mohideen.
Here.
Carolina Nogues Ortiz.
Here.
Dania Nacheva.
Here.
Sunil Sakiri.
Here.
Tom Zhou.
Here.
Arjun Thalakapalli.
Here.
Great.
Okay. Well, very good. We are mostly present. First on the agenda is the consent agenda. And did you all have the opportunity to see the minutes from our last meeting? They were included. Any comments on those minutes, or does anyone want to move that we accept those?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
And I'll second it.
Who said that? I'm sorry. Lisa?
Lisa.
Lisa. Ani and then Lisa. Any discussion on that? All right.
No.
Go ahead and call for the vote, Ms. Ames.
Okay. Mayor Baker?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Ani?
Yes.
Saida?
Yes.
Carolina?
Yes.
Daniela?
Yes.
Sunil?
Yes.
And then Tom.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We have a few items for our regular business that we need to take care of first before any fun conversation, which I think is my favorite conversations come from these meetings. I think they're the most interesting, so I look forward to those always. So we'll start with regular business. I'm going to hand it over to Sarah to present the first item, which is the discussion regarding scheduling 2021 meetings. So
Great.
Sarah, we had a memo, of course, but go ahead, Sarah.
So last meeting, we talked about, having this meeting and really focusing on when we were going to schedule and trying to figure out what schedule would be better for us so that we didn't have the conflicting times with other groups. So in the memo, I included 2 days. So it's the first Monday of the month and then the second Monday of every month. And I included those in like a list there.
Wednesdays, Sarah, Wednesdays.
Oh, did I say Tuesday? I'm sorry.
You said Mondays, so yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Not Mondays. No, definitely not Mondays. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, Mavita, you joined us. Mavita's here, everybody. Very good.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome. Glad we're here. We're all present then. I like that.
Great.
Good
Okay.
to see you, Mavita. Sorry, continue, Sarah.
No, that's okay. But yeah, I was just hoping. So I had talked to Bob Bruner. He's the assistant city manager, and he said that the conflict with the traffic committee, which we had the last meeting where we only were able to meet for an hour because then they came in and had their meeting scheduled already. They meet once a quarter. And so we could continue this Wednesday, the third Wednesday, or we can choose the first or second Wednesday, which doesn't have any conflict in the evening at 6 p.m. if that's what we choose to do.
Okay. Any questions or comments about that?
I don't think it makes any difference to me which Wednesday. Wednesday's a good day.
I'm okay with Wednesdays.
Okay, well, that's a good start.
Yeah, we did discuss that last time, and that's why I only looked for the Wednesdays. But I didn't know if like a first or second Wednesday mattered to anyone, like if you had anything, regularly scheduled.
I think for me, I think the second Wednesday is better for me than the first Wednesday. When I look at these Wednesdays, I see a couple of conflicts already on dates on those first Wednesdays. So selfishly, I would like to see the second Wednesdays if possible.
That's fine with me.
Is that
It's me.
mostly okay with everybody?
Yeah.
And 6 p.m. is that tough? Is that okay?
I think
That's a good time.
Is it a good time? I don't know. I know sometimes work can. Well, I don't know, but
Yeah, we don't worry about that now.
we don't work anymore, so it's not. All right. So, Sarah, do you need a motion from us?
If if you need to move it a little earlier, I'm still okay with that. If you said 5:30, I'm
I
fine.
think earlier is probably not a good idea. Generally, we try to do anything at 6 o'clock or later, just from a city standpoint. I think that's the better
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah, 6 or later, that's better.
6 is better. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to set the scheduled meetings on Wednesday, the second Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m.
And I second it.
Okay, we have got a motion on the floor that's been seconded. Any further discussion on that? All right, how about the vote, Ms. Ames?
Mayor Baker,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Mavita,
Yes.
Ani,
Yes.
Saida,
Yes.
Carolina,
Yes.
Daniela,
Yes.
Sunil,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Great.
Motion carries. Next up is the discussion regarding Global Trade Advisory Committee 2021 events. I will hand it back to you again, Sarah. Take it
Great.
away.
Okay. So yeah, we had talked last meeting about how we wanted to start the new year and be really active with events or celebrations, really anything that we could. I know it's a bit challenging right now with COVID. Hopefully, by mid-year things start changing and we can do more in-person events and things like that. But I did put a list together with some of your input on different celebrations that we could, host or, different things basically that we could celebrate or host events for. I know that Lisa, she already requested, what was it? I'm sorry, Lisa, I totally forgot.
National Italian American Heritage Month in October.
Yes, so she wanted to kind of pilot that, take charge of that. So if anybody else has ideas on, especially the next couple of months on events that we could do, I was hoping it would be more of a, kind of conversation, just as we had, for this December event tomorrow.
Okay. I love this list. I love seeing the different things because, there's no, it's not a secret. I'm a Christian white male, so I tend to think of the Christian white male type holidays, and that probably sounds horrible to some people, but it's a reality, right? So to see the options or the different aspects, I think is great for our community, and I think that's a great, I think it's a great thing for this board to focus on or to do. It helps spread the word of what we're trying to do as a committee and gives us an opportunity to be as heavy into some of them or as light as we need to be, but the acknowledgement, I think, is what's so important. I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit to what's the holiday winter traditions that are coming out tomorrow, but I mean, I'm blown away by what the group of you has been able to do to put that together. And it's exciting to me to think that, obviously not every one of these can have that same kind of involvement and everything, but like, this is something this committee should be focusing on, I think, in my opinion. And the idea that we can do something like this and actually give us some guidance here to continue our purpose and to actually have a purpose that we can, say, okay, we've got something each month, more or less. That's fantastic. And so that's my overly wordy initial response. But please, I'm opening it up. Any comments from anybody on what they think or what we need or how we want to handle this would be greatly appreciated.
I was going to say that I felt the same way. I was just going through thinking of, the celebrations and dates that I already knew, but I was like, I know it's definitely not exhaustive, and this list is not exhaustive as well. So if there's any further input or anything that I didn't add, and actually there's a couple on this list that I updated after I sent out the memo. So it's definitely not exhaustive. So if there's anything else I need to add or that you really want to focus on, I am happy to hear about that.
I'm good with the list. I think it's a good list. The only thing I was thinking of, and I don't have that answer, I'm not making that suggestion, but there was this piece of a yoga month or a yoga day, which could have been a health-related thing, and we can just, I don't know what month is that, I don't know when, but I think it's somewhere in August, and I saw an empty month there. So I just thought of it. I just look at when it is and does it fit what we want to do. I just want to throw that as a thought.
Okay.
I have a kind of a process question on this. It's one thing to have the list. It's another thing to organize virtual or real in-person celebrations at some point, which could add a great amount of work to that. And so I don't know. We talked a little bit at the last meeting about subcommittees and stuff. Is this something that the whole board as a whole should be focusing on? Is there a subcommittee that comes out of this? Do we kind of divvy up some of these based on people's interests and own experiences to take the lead on this? I mean, obviously, I think that is a good idea in the sense that if we have somebody on the committee who, celebrates some of these specifically, then they should take the lead on it. We should always be mindful. We don't want to have something on a list but not do it justice. Favor certain ones but not other ones, or do something wrong. I know that sounds terrible, but I only say that from my personal experience. This last Sunday I lit the shamash candle at a public menorah lighting. I'm not Jewish, and I was terrified that I would do something wrong or inappropriate, right? So my own anxiety about that, I can see that translating to something here. I certainly wouldn't want to say something about one of these holidays and have it be factually wrong or totally miss the point, right? I mean, and I think we do that a lot in this country. We'll celebrate such and such, and you'll see someone slide on Facebook or something, but it's not the point. So I just want to make sure that if we're going to commit to doing something like this, we can do it in a meaningful and honest way. And sometimes that's not always, hearts and flowers, for lack of a better way of saying it, right? Thoughts on that? Sorry.
I think it's an excellent point, Ethan. I don't think we need a subcommittee, because I know last time I said I'll think about it. Because otherwise you'll end up with 12 subcommittees in the process, because you have one for each month.
Right.
But we can have ad hoc groups. So you can have, like you said, one person leading it, and then two other people from the committee would kind of contribute to it. So it always becomes a 3-person kind of team. That's where, or more than 3. I'm just saying we should have, and we can all contribute in one way or another. If you believe in what we are saying right now, and we should find a way of contributing some time to it. Yeah. So I think it'll be, we'll just make groups as compared to a formal subcommittee. Ad hoc teams is what I would call them. So that's just my thought. That'll be, otherwise you will end up with one for each month, pretty much, because I think we have about 10.
There's some overlap too, and I don't want to, I think that's fine, but Juneteenth falls in the middle of Pride Month, right? So, I mean, it's not just one. You don't pick one over the other. So, there's going to be some, you know what I mean, same times. So, whatever that word is. I'm losing my mind. But speak up if I'm looking down and I don't see you trying to talk. So please don't. I'm just looking at, I don't know what Athens High is doing this year for Martin Luther King Day. They traditionally do their amazing day of service, and they do a great program in the auditorium beforehand. And my initial thought was, maybe if I'm sure they're probably going to do something virtually. I would expect they're not expecting to do a big assembly type thing, but maybe we could coordinate with them and they could take part in that as well. I don't know how many of you have been to their Martin Luther King Day of service and the morning service, but they've been they're really, really powerful and really impressive at a high school level. And so I don't know, my first thought was that it'd be great if we could coordinate with them, because we have some great resources in our high school students as well. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think any groups, if they're doing anything, if we want to partner with them, so if anybody has any ideas on that, that would be great. I think there is a limit to, if we're just going to do ad hoc groups, just as we've done with this December event, there's only a certain number of people that can do it before it becomes deliberation. So I think if we just put it down to the one person leading and the two people committing to help, that would be good. Plus, I think then that leaves more people to, focus on other events and things that we can do, if there's multiple things happening in 1 month. So yeah, I think the one person and two people committing to it, I think is good.
Again, do we want to try to divvy some of these up? We don't need to do that necessarily right now, but because of our Open Meetings Act issues, we can't circulate a document and fill it in like you normally would. We can certainly communicate through Sarah. I think that's probably a way to get the ball rolling, is to talk about who wants to take on some of these, and as kind of the chair of that celebration, and then we could go from there. So I don't know how you want to handle that. If you want to do it via email, we can do that. If somebody's dying to do one now or a couple, we can take that down, and maybe that rips off the Band-Aid, but everyone's preference. I have no.
Real quick, Mayor, may I ask a question?
Please.
So since
can I say something really quick, Caitlin, before it's about you?
Yeah, of course.
So Caitlin's been a student representative for a few years. She didn't get reappointed as a student representative, which was on me, and we had a little bit of miscommunication. But the good news is we found out, well, she knew, but I found out she's 18, which means she's able to be a real member of the board, a voting member. So I nominated her at the last meeting to be a real member, a real voting member, and she will be officially appointed at the January 11th council meeting. But she's here tonight, not to vote, but to participate. So welcome back.
Thank you. It feels very great.
A real live member. So now the power begins. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so since I wasn't able to be at the last two meetings, I think I've been a little bit behind on what our December event is going to look like. I was wondering if I could get a quick recap of what the event will constitute, so I kind of have in mind, if I'm able to help with future events and things like that.
That's a great point. And I know Daniela and Allison and Carolina and Sarah in our meeting last Friday, I think you talked about maybe showing it tonight. I don't know if that's a good idea, because this is being broadcast live and tomorrow night's the big unveiling.
It's also pretty lengthy. So
yeah, right. So is there a way do one of you want to describe it a little bit, and then we'll go from there? Does that work?
Yeah, I think we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So basically what we did was we started with a lot of different churches, because it's just whatever. So we reached out to different groups to get different, various, how various cultures celebrate the winter holidays. So we have Greek, Sweden, Mexico. I can't list all of them off the top of my head, but basically we just asked all of them to make a 2 to 3 minute video on their traditions. If they could show us something, if they had a statue, they showed us that. Some of them also sent additional pictures, and we just kind of put that all together.
So how long is the video?
It is around 45 minutes.
No, that's awesome.
We got so many people.
It's going to be, the city's going to publicize it out on it, or broadcast it at 7:00 tomorrow night. And then of course it'll live on YouTube. So if someone misses it tomorrow night, it'll replay and they can watch it whenever they want.
I just think, I think what we learned was we definitely want to start earlier than 1 month, because trying to get a lot of our submissions came from contacting people literally last week and asking them to make a video in 2 to 3 days. So just starting earlier to be able to contact them earlier would help a lot.
I have to applaud you guys. I mean, I think to take it on, and so Caitlin, I think Daniela, it was you that brought it up and asked if you could do it or take it on. And I don't know, very successful, I think. And
thank you. I would like to say thank you to the team that we work with, Sarah, Allison, and Carolina, and to you, Mayor, for believing in us and in my crazy idea to do something in 1 month. But actually, after watching the movie yesterday and the final edits, I learned so much, and I enjoyed watching the different cultures and different celebrations. I'm sure everyone will enjoy to see something new and learn something different. So yes, 3-4 people in a team work really well. And of course, we reach out to Lisa, to Mivida, to different people from our team, only a little bit. If we work together, we can do it. Like I learned that the library will be willing to help, but they need 3 months ahead a notice. That's why I don't think we have to do something every month. I think this is too much, especially for me and some other of you that have full-time jobs. But I was thinking maybe we can combine, like we have winter holiday traditions. I couldn't get a person from the library because she called me today and I said, sorry, it's too late. But she said she will be willing to participate in our spring activities, or if we have a spring traditions movie. So working with the library, working with Troy Historic Museum, and with some other groups in Troy will be great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just would like to add that I think it was a really good opportunity to like reach out to like new groups and new individuals. For example, like it was hard to find some people from certain traditions or certain cultures. And that's kind of on us because, you know, maybe we don't see them in our normal life, but it's really good that we keep expanding those networks and connections. And just because we don't know someone personally, it doesn't mean that, you know, there's not people from that group here in Troy. And maybe we could come up with some kind of like spreadsheet, and between all of us, like we can find more people for the programs next year. So we're not scrambling kind of last minute and like, you know, putting out like, oh, well, we need to find this person. Like we should already try to have those networks established. So that's something that I think we can work on for the future.
Yes, agree. And Sarah already started the list. And I know Lisa has a list with the International Day contacts. So.
Yeah, well, I could collaborate with you and share the list, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Quick question for you, Daniela. Is there automatically you see a connection with with that 45-minute video and Troy, city of Troy? Does it have anything about these are the people who are living in Troy and they're talking about? Does it reflect out automatically?
Yes, most of the presenters live in Troy. So,
okay.
Or like the Polish Cultural Center is in Troy. The Chaldean Church is in Troy. The Greek Church is in Troy. Yeah, this was the purpose, to see Troy residents talking about the different traditions.
Yeah. Okay. And they said in the video that we Polish Center of Troy or something. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Alison did a good job with
Great. Excellent.
names, advertisements, everything. Carolina even got Padma Cooper to say a few words. So I think we are in good shape.
Wonderful. That's good.
But now I'm thinking we have to come up with different ideas. And I like your idea about August. Could be something related with not just yoga, but exercising, like some kind of challenge. Or even if you wish, weight loss challenge. Because in August, we can still go outside and exercise in Troy parks. And kind of maybe invite somebody from Troy parks and recreational people to talk about and connect it.
I really like that idea about like just not doing just one type of virtual event, but having more than one type of event. It would just keep people more interested.
Yes. And also food. Once I guess we can meet each other, we have to organize an event that has food. Like
We can do that one right before the weight loss challenge. How about that?
Yes.
No, I think it's important to remember the food. I think is great. We have to remember our mission of this board in specific. It's not just to have events. It's to have specific to what to focus on our diversity in the city of Troy and the global reach that we have. So I'm trying to think of various exercises from around the world represented here. We're just trying to keep. We want to make sure we stay on message because I think that'll be the strength of this board in general. But yeah, so it kind of takes us back to. So I don't know where we go with this list and how we want to do it. Obviously, January comes fast. Grouping them together is a good idea, except that it might for the ones that have already happened, it might feel kind of strange, but I guess it depends on how you frame it, right? Or how you put it together. There's probably a way to do it. I think maybe it's a good idea to have Sarah circulate an email to us as a group and have us individually respond to what our interests are or what ones we know we'd like to do. Does that make sense for now as a way to start off? Again, unless somebody says, listen, I know right now I want to do, welcoming week. That's you, Lisa. Sorry, you got that one. Your Troy Days, yeah, your International Day, and that's all you. But you know what I mean? Like, I just am trying to think of a way to move the ball along without it.
I think we already discussed a little bit with my team that March is International Women's Day. So there's so many women here on the committee. Maybe we can come up with some interesting ideas for March.
I'd like the idea of clustering some of these events or recognitions of different ethnicities together, like Daniela had mentioned, like doing a collection of event like highlights of the spring, and then we can do some for the summertime. But then there are some very large, you could almost do a whole program on one, it just depends, like, the African American month in February, it is on the heels of Martin Luther King Jr. And so that could be one in itself, So, but we do need to have somebody help organize it. But I'd be happy to contribute as far as my contact list from Troy Family Days International Day. For sure. There's some good stuff in there.
Fantastic.
Mivida, do you want to do something for February?
Well, so here's my thought. I've been trying to get the baby to cut the TV down because I can't really hear her. But I think that I agree with Daniela that maybe we need to do this quarterly. My question was, are we doing a recap or a summary like you're doing tomorrow? Is that something maybe we could do in that quarter, and it'll highlight the different holidays and things that have happened in that time frame? Because to just say you focus on Black History Month is not African American. That was driving me crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Black History Month is what it's called. Okay. If we focus on that, then who do we then exclude? If we focus on Diwali, then do we focus on Christmas? Now we have to focus, So I think if we just did a quarterly recap, and I don't know if this is in Allison's capacity, but to do something that highlights all the things that we have listed without giving preference to any specific thing, if that makes sense. And then that kind of takes some of the pressure off of someone coordinating every quarter. We already know what those are. It is just us getting people to participate in that quarterly event. That's what I was thinking. Because I'm like, looking at this list is going to be too hard.
Like a full-time job, right?
Yes. When somebody said Mavita, I was like, oh, my job is driving me crazy. So I'm definitely not about to take on another one. But I think that is going to take some of the angst off of trying to do something every single bullet point or every single holiday. And then I am Christian as well, Mayor Baker. Lord forbid we forget someone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for like the one tomorrow, it like talks about Christmas, which is obviously not upon us yet, but some people also talked about some things that already happened. So maybe if we want to do quarterly, maybe it could be like in the middle of that quarter, so it can like recap on some events, but could also like have like and look forward to these events. So then people can't be like, oh, I missed the whole quarter of events.
Yeah. So that I just think that might be an equal balance right now with everyone being busy and having jobs and things of that nature. That might be a great way for us to get around it. Or if you guys occasionally want to say, okay, we're going to do one thing per quarter. It's a virtual event, but it's this thing. I still feel like somebody's going to feel like they didn't get an opportunity to be highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
And that exact thing happens, Mavita knows, at the International Day Festival. I always have an ethnicity or two approach us and say, well, why aren't we represented in this wonderful day? So it does happen. Not intentionally, of course.
It's not, it's not malicious, but, you know, to Mayor Baker's point, we know our things, but we don't know everything. So, you know, it could be a special day for a small group of people and we miss it. But this way it's kind of a, what is that? Self-reporting. You tell us and we will give you space to talk about your thing.
If I may say something, I mean, if we can advertise in the social media that's what we're going to do, like for the International Day. I mean, everybody can see it. If people come and say, how come I wasn't involved? Well, whoever's in that community can get in touch and tell them to call. I mean, you can't go on knock at every door and where you from and what are you doing?
I like that. I feel like obviously the list isn't exhaustive, which is part of the issue, but I hate to have, I like the kind of in the middle of the quarter a little bit better than at the end. I guess, I mean, ideally I like it at the beginning because then you know what's coming up, right? So like, oh, I want to, but I guess that might be too difficult. I just want to make sure like certainly the city could be involved in promoting some of these days, or I think they should from a social media standpoint as a good representation of our community. So that's more of like a beforehand thing to do, but a recap aspect of it, I think is cool and educational, and you know, gives people a better understanding and some of the other cultures in their own community, which I think is kind of the goal, right?
Also, and I hear when you said that, I was like, oh, okay. So like Martin Luther King Jr. Day. If there's nothing happening at the school, there's always opportunity to get things from like PBS or somewhere else that maybe we don't broadcast, but we advertise or we watch or, you know, we talk about, and the impact that he made on this world. Like, so there's opportunity for us to do things that are social. At my job, we do a lot of those impromptu videos, like you guys did, where we just say, hey, tell me, you know, your favorite quote of Martin Luther King Jr. And they talk about the impact that quote means to them, or whatever that is. So we don't miss anything. We just then, you know, we can show small snippets and then put the whole recap together. Because I got it when you said that. We're going to miss some things that may be important to people, but we can still do those one-offs of how do you feel about this, or, you know, what impact did this person have, or whatever those things are. And even for International Women's Day, as Daniela said, we have a bunch of women. We all can do a, you know, 30-second video talking about what that day means to them and still not miss anybody.
Are you saying that it doesn't matter what I think of International Women's Day, Mavita? Are you excluding me right now?
No, I work in a place where we empower people to be their best selves. So you are welcome to join with your
All right.
I like that, how like we don't have to host an event on everything. We can, if we know that someone else in the community is doing something, we can just help promote it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of doing it. Do we know, Sarah, did we ask about whether or not Global Troy could have their own social media accounts? We talked about it at the last meeting, but I can't remember where we went
Right.
with
So I talked to Cindy about it, I believe. And because we're different from other committees and boards, but still, I couldn't find any information on rules for social media. So I think it's just assumed that people won't have them. I do think if we were able to, or if I don't know how we would do this, if we could, write up rules or something that if we, could get social media, these are the rules we would have to follow. That way, everything that we posted on there would be appropriate and, we wouldn't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. I think that would be great, but also the city, they can post anything that we have. So, if we just wanted to do it that way, it would be fine as well if we didn't want to, have someone running the social media and that sort of thing.
Yeah. The city's got, well, there's social media rules for the city too, so we have to be careful not to.
Yeah.
Right. And it would be kind of tricky. We would have to be really, really careful. And it's probably just easier to hand it off to someone who is supporting us saying, yes, we will post this for you. Okay. So it's helpful for, YouTube as well.
Yeah, for sure. And the city has a broader reach. So, I mean, it's there at least initially. And I think that's important.
Yes.
I think guidelines just on making a video would be helpful too. Like which way to hold your camera or what format to submit it on. Just a couple little guidelines for everybody. So we all hit certain bullet points. If and when we do have in-person events again, like International Day, having cameras available, that would be a great place to actually hit up citizens, to having them talk about their favorite cultural, event or holiday. And then we could just insert these as they come up.
Absolutely.
And sometimes there are rules about getting a permission to put their video online. And I don't know what city rules are, but we just need to just, and I think to everyone's point, we should just ask the guidelines for video or guidelines. I think that would be helpful to say, does somebody has to sign off on a piece of paper or just a verbal okay is all right? Or whatever that is, I think we should follow that. That's a good point. So the other point I wanted to make was, in my thought, I was thinking if there was going to be, let's say, Greek month or Greek couple of weeks, I was thinking that at that time we would ask all the Greek restaurants in Troy to do something special, meaning just either have a special. So we're integrating the activities within the city along with what we are showing. And it brings in the food, it brings in some other things, it brings in, so the XYZ restaurant is doing this for the Greek month, and not advertising individual ones, but at least saying, here are the 5 or 6 Greek restaurants who are doing this, or Irish bars, or whatever that is. So just a thought, it doesn't have to just stay only at a video level. Once we open, we'll be able to incorporate more stuff in it, including the local shops and restaurants and those kind of things.
Oh, I just thought of something because over COVID and quarantine, I've seen a lot of like bingo sheets on Instagram and stuff where people like check off things they've done. So if we can like come up, if we like know of things that are upcoming, we could maybe be like, hey, everyone, like complete this bingo sheet. And then people can like kind of, it can be like a challenge sort of while they like go to see different events and stuff.
Interesting.
And again, the question about budget. Let's say we organize some kind of event and we play games. Can we have a gift card for the first 3 people or something like this? Like we didn't make t-shirts or pens or anything. So can we put this question again on the table? Can we have a budget and use it for some kind of marketing materials?
It's funny. I wrote a note down to talk about later. I couldn't remember if we have a budget at all or anything. I don't know what our bylaws say or what the city says. I mean,
I don't think we have.
Either. I don't think we do.
We do, but seems to me like we could with a proper.
They give us a budget for the International Day.
Right.
Lisa can explain. It's always with problems. Always with.
No, that's yeah.
First prize is City of Troy T-shirt. Second prize would be City of Troy mug. Third one is a City of Troy cover for your cell phone.
How about one of these? These are amazing, and I have the I'm the only one that has them. So there you go.
There you go.
Those are good.
Actually, Sarah, could you put down to ask? I don't know if it's Lori or whom, the city attorney, but to just follow up on if Global Troy wanted to have a small budget for something specific, what that process would be. If that's something that could be done directly through the city manager's office, because of the monetary amounts, or through the community affairs department. And there's got to be some mechanism. Obviously, if it's over $1,000, it has to go to bid. If it's over $10,000, it needs council approval for certain things. So, I mean, I'm just wondering if there's a method where it could be done in a transparent but more straightforward way than what it sounds like the current process is.
And also maybe if we can get some company or a foundation to donate to be a sponsor. Can we use their name in the background, or can we do that legally? I mean,
I'm sure with the sponsorship you can. I know when the city does the Frightful 5K, there's company names printed on the back as sponsors in the front. So I know that it can be done. We just have to figure out again the process. So that would be another good question, Sarah.
I have one more question. Are we, I don't know, is the city still talking about the DEI plan?
I want to talk about that, but not on this regular business item. So I wrote that down too, because I have some news on that. So, but let's talk about that when we get to it, just for you. So as far as the dates and events, what do you feel we need to do and decide tonight? And what can be left to email potentially, or what?
I think maybe email to.
I really like Mavita's idea about showcasing 3 months, all the different events and about different culture. So once in 3 months is a really good idea for showcasing rather than having every month. That's my thought.
So would you all want to do like January, February, and March, and, like for past events, maybe interview or, have videos of people explaining how they've celebrated.
Or how they're going to celebrate.
Or how they're going. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm sure we're still going to be virtual for quite a while. I'm just going to assume.
I think you're.
Yeah.
I mean, we already talked about the Chinese New Year actually in this movie. So maybe let's concentrate on March, the Women's Day, March 8th, or just the whole month of March. And I can help with this because March 1st, we have Bulgarian tradition that I can see this Martinitsa in front of the library or in front of the city. I don't know. We created 2 long pieces of yarn, red and white, and we put this on March 1st because on our buildings, on our clothes, because we want spring to come sooner. It's a nice tradition and a few other things. Maybe Caitlin didn't participate in the last movie. If you like to be part of this women's celebration,
I absolutely love to.
You said yes?
Yes, I could definitely do that.
Yes. And of course, we will accept the mayor or Sunil. It doesn't have to be a woman for Women's Day.
Let me tell you what it's like. I'll talk about my experience as a woman. It doesn't work, but I get it.
We definitely want to see your children. You said you have 3 children.
I'll bring them out sometime.
Yes.
They were at the tree lighting ceremony at City Hall. They were standing there, which is on YouTube. Check it out.
Okay.
I think that's great, Daniela, to focus on that. I really don't think we should just ignore Black History Month, especially now. And I think that that's, I mean, obviously, to Mavita's point, we can't take on a major project. And there's so many, I mean, there's frankly great production value out there that we could pull from to advertise and promote. But I just want to make sure, I think we should as a board do that.
We have to.
Yeah, I not doing it would be a major miss. And so,
I
again,
actually really
that's just a separate promotion of, hey, this is, you know, as a reminder. I mean, not that, you know what I mean, to get that out there. I just want to make sure that stays on our radar and it does come first. But so I don't want to lose sight of that.
Yeah, so
I did.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I really like Mavita's idea of just asking people about like maybe their favorite MLK Jr. quote and then talking about what that means. And it can be like a really quick video from everyone, maybe 30 seconds. And it just doesn't have to be like a big, like 45-minute video like this time, but it's still like, we still highlight it sort of.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing I was going to say, there is a there is a Black History Museum that we could then say the City of Troy residents can go to this on following day and it's free for you or half off for you or something that then we can coordinate with the Black History Museum. I think it sort of publicizes our link with them. It publicizes the museum. I think it's something to think about. Say, if we go to them and we can come up with, can we do something special between us and the Black History Museum during that month? So we can pick one day and say, okay, it's free for Troy residents on this day. Something of that sort. It just tells us that we're sort of promoting that. Because I don't know if everybody knows about it. Has everyone gone there? But those kind of things. And I was just looking at not everything we got to do here, but we can start extending other assets around us.
I like that concept. Is it open? First of all, will it be open because of restrictions?
Yeah, so far as I know, Ethan, all museums are open. I went to the art museum. They were very restrictive in how they were letting people in and out. They were keeping the distance and they were letting so many people in at a time. But it should be open.
Are you willing to reach out to them to see if you can work out a deal?
I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. I can see what arrangements we can make. If they put a sign up, it says for City of Troy residents, it's welcome. Something of that.
Even something, yeah. Just I mean, in that way, it would give us another. I don't know.
Yeah, I can talk.
Another way to focus. But I just, if you brought it up, I thought might be a good thing for you to look at.
I'm wondering if we could do maybe some kind of panel where we bring in different speakers, or it could be like, it doesn't have to necessarily be pre-recorded. It could be more of like interactive, like a town hall style meeting where people can get the invitation to join like a Zoom link, and then there could be a panel and then like questions, or how Mavita mentioned that, you know, we can have more discussion rather than just kind of like being spoken to.
I think that's a great idea. And one of the reasons I do is because there were a lot of webinars and panels in the summer after George Floyd. And I think that the human response is going to be for that stuff to trail away. And it's the exact opposite is what we should be doing. We should continue to have those panels and those discussions, and it would be good for us to do something like that. And I don't think, because everything's virtual and so easy to do now, that might be it's much easier to do it virtually than it is to try to organize at the community center and, do all of that stuff. So I think that's something we could potentially look at as a great, getting some great panelists, I think, is important. And you want to take that on, Carolina?
So I need support because, to be honest, like, I don't know enough to be the person leading, but I can offer logistical help. I've done several virtual town halls since the pandemic began. And so I know I can help with the logistics side, but I feel like I'm not comfortable enough to like lead this event. So maybe we can look into, maybe forming like a little subcommittee for this month, or if there's someone that has more like expertise in this area.
I'm not an expert, but I'd be happy to be on that subcommittee to help out with it. Sometimes when I call people, it gets their attention, I've learned. Sometimes that helps. If that helps, I guess is my point. So I would love to, but I'm obviously not the person to take the lead on that either. But I'd love to be part of that in some way.
What are we looking for? Are we looking also for getting somebody from the FBI or Homeland Security to talk about runaway kids or cyber, anything like that? Is that part of it too, or that's out of there?
Yeah, I think that's different.
Yeah, I think that's different, but certainly that can play a role for some other period.
I just checked the library. The library has an event on January 21st. It's called Human Diversity, Social Justice, and You, a discussion with Auckland University professor. So we need to be careful not to do on the same day as the library, or maybe invite people to this event that the library already has. January 21st.
That's a good point. Good. Right. The library is pretty active with a lot of those things.
But I like the idea about a panel of, let's say, 3 people talking about this. And maybe there could be one of the presenters on the table.
And this, we're talking about for February, right? Doing something specifically for Black History Month.
Yes.
I can take the charge. I again do a lot of what we call IDEA. We just had a panel in October of some very wonderful people around Metro Detroit. So it's not just, Black people, but people from around Metro Detroit who can speak to and talk about professionally from both sides about the issue. So I can definitely help with that because we just did it in October. So if you're asking me, I'll take the lead.
We asked you and you accepted.
Because nobody was like, I'll do it.
All right. Well, I think that's good. Go ahead, Carolina.
Oh, sorry. I was also thinking we could ask Dr. Teresa Brooks from our city council if she would like to be involved as well.
For sure. I had the same thought. For sure. She's actually unique because she's a doctor too. So I always find it's a great time. It's a hard time to be a doctor, but I find her, her perspective on a lot of things as it relates to council right now very interesting because of her background as a doctor. So it's
exactly.
She's a twofer for that purposes. So wonderful. All right. So Mavita isn't running it. We've got a subcommittee of Carolina and me so far. Does anyone else want to jump on that one?
And Caitlin.
I think we can only have one more, right? We don't want any more.
I can jump on that one.
Caitlin.
All right, good. Caitlin's in too. So does that sound fun? Fair? Carolina, is good?
Sounds both fun and fair.
All right. So we'll get going on that. It's probably time to get going on it. Basically, is the idea. So, all right, and then Daniela, you're talking about. We need to I guess we should talk a little bit about March as well in women's history. Do you want to kind of take the lead as you did with the holidays, as far as communication and start that process, just to kind of to see and?
Or if someone else is willing, that's okay. Too.
Look at everybody sit on their hands. And
I can take the lead for that one.
can you?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. Yay. Is there, do you want to?
Which one was that? I was just writing a few notes. Which one are you talking about?
For International Women's Month.
Women's. Okay.
We can include you, all inclusive.
Yeah, I can, but it may not be as effective.
I'm thinking here, some the celebrations that are like a month celebration, it kind of feels like those maybe deserve their own programming or something. Whereas if it's, some of the specific days you can kind of put together in groupings for the quarter or something. I mean, I don't know if that sounds, I don't want to cheapen them or delegitimize them anyway, but to me, like, that kind of makes a little more common sense. I don't know if that's doable. But just a thought I had.
Your thought is around the Cinco de Mayo, those kind of ones.
Yeah, I mean, I guess several of these are longer, a month long, but it just.
Yeah, just really quick. Cinco de Mayo is not really like a very celebrated holiday by Mexicans in Mexico or really here in the United States. It's become more of like a commercialized holiday.
It's like Valentine's Day in a sense. I mean,
yeah.
It's very, very.
Maybe we should talk about tax season and maybe offer translation services for people that have issues with tax returns and concentrate on this then. But depends.
Interesting point. I think, Carolina, you're right. I mean, El Dia de los Muertos is far more impactful, important, even more so than like Mexican Independence Day, which I only know because it's my birthday. Like, but that's my
no way.
That's my big celebration is Mexican Independence Day. But I mean, like people. I mean, although this sounds silly, but when was it Coco? When Coco, the Disney movie, came out, I think more people learned about El Dia de los Muertos than had before. So I mean, it's interesting how that works, but yeah, I got you.
The General Counsel of Mexico is a Troy resident. He lives here.
Oh, that's really good. We should connect with him.
Yeah, he would. He's a great guy, and he's a great. He can do a lot of things.
Yay! Let's make the connections. And I see the flower behind Lisa. Carolina, do you want to kind of give them a sneak peek of the movie?
Well, I can just mention it right now briefly rather than see my clip. So the flower that Lisa has is in Spanish, it's called Nochebuena, and it originates from Mexico. So I talk about that a little bit in the video that will be shared tomorrow. And yeah.
Cool.
While we're sharing about our piece, I actually spoke about something else behind me. The Italian fruitcake. I did not have a sample of it for my video. So for anyone viewing tonight's, Global Troy, this is the Italian fruitcake that I dared everybody to try.
It's delicious.
I also have a box of the Torrone, which is a nougat and nut candy that is very popular this time of the year.
Yum.
Good stuff.
Yummy.
I'm really looking forward to the video tomorrow night. I know, I mean, I've seen snippets of individuals, but I think it's going to, I don't want to overstate it. It's going to blow people's minds to see how many, different traditions, how many people, first of all, participated, but then the stories and cultures. I think it's really, really, really cool. So excited about it. And, I know at our council meeting the other night, a few of us mentioned it during council comments. So I know that people are interested in it, which is good. To keep us on track a little bit, I kind of think we should maybe leave this conversation at where we're at. We know we've got a couple things scheduled or in the books starting at our next meeting, the first, meeting in January. Into February, we can obviously we'll have progress on these things that we've got planned, but we can talk maybe about the rest of the year a little bit and look at the scheduling, and we'll have some more time to digest. We'll see how these other two are going, so we'll know a little bit if we're biting off more than we can chew, and if we need to, what we need to do. Recognizing we're not full-time Global Troy members is our life, right? We've got a lot of things to do. So Unless anyone else has anything to say on that specific topic, I think we should maybe move on.
Okay, and I do have to take a roll call for the subcommittee.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. I'll move that we appoint all of those as the subcommittee as spoken into the record. I'm sure you took notes. Yeah. I'm going to second that, Ani?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Roll call, the vote.
Mayor Baker,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Mavita,
Yes.
Ani,
Yes.
Saida,
Yes.
Carolina,
Yes.
Daniela,
Yes.
Sunil,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Great. Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. So next on the agenda is discussion regarding Global Troy Advisory Committee name change. And if it's all right, Sarah, can I introduce this one?
Yes.
And I throw this out here, and I've thought a lot about it, and I was thinking about it anyway, this concept. I wonder sometimes if Global Troy is the right name for what our mission is in this group. And maybe it's just me, but for me, sometimes Global Troy sounds much more business related than culture related. And ironically, I was thinking this, and then I got an email about Sterling Heights. They're starting. I'm calling it their Global Troy, but they're calling it their Community Alliance, but Unity is highlighted. And I started thinking, okay, I think what we really want to focus more on is the unity aspect of our community. Obviously, I don't want to copy them, but I kind of wanted to throw it out to the members as a whole to see if any of you have had that thought in the past, if it's something that we want to consider, if we want to, Troy Unity Advisory Committee or Troy Unified or Unified Troy Advisory Committee. I'm just throwing those out as things that I do think the unity part of it's so important for who we are and the things we go through as a community. But I kind of wanted to throw that out and see what anybody else thought about it, recognizing that if we were to make a name change, council has to approve it. I don't think that would be an issue. But in today's day and age, I think more than ever, we need to be more focused on what our true goals are. And to me, I kind of think, how did I say this, recognizing it's public, but Global Troy to me, I think does a disservice in name to some of the issues we're trying to deal with. I don't think Global Troy necessarily speaks to racial injustices, for example, against Black people. I don't think Global Troy addresses that in the way that it should. To me, that it just doesn't feel right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's my own personal experience, but to me, that's not what it's about. I think that our community is going to look to Global Troy for certain issues as we move forward. And I'd like to see us more about bringing people together and unifying as opposed to just saying we're a global city. Does that make sense? Because to me, the Black people in our city and the brown people in our city, I don't think of them as global. I think that puts them in a box. To me, they're already here. They're Americans. They're here. It's not about the globe. It's about being unified. So that's my poor introduction of this item to talk about, but something I've thought a lot about. So I don't know. I'm opening up the floor if anyone has any thoughts on that. I only put his hand up first, so let's go there.
I agree with you 100%. I thought about it and going to too many, well, not this year, community functions. Yes, I think something like Troy Unity Advisory or Diversity Committee or board or something, I think that would attract. I agree with you. When I did mention Global Advisory, is that a business? You getting business into Troy? So I think it's a good idea to put the unity and the community in there somehow.
It's very often that unity in diversity is a term that gets used very often. Unity is, and it doesn't have to be unity in global diversity. It can be unity in diversity, which will probably be inclusive of more. How do we make it into a term for a committee? Those two words should probably pull the things together. And by the way, I shouldn't say that, but the very fact that you made a comment which basically said global, there's a difference between Black and others, was tricky, just as a reference, because I believe I'm also here. And my kids are also here, and they have the same color. So you understand what I'm referring to.
Yeah, no, I do.
It's to say that some other people have more rights than.
Oh, and I certainly didn't mean that. I just meant as we've had such a focus in this country in the last year, this year.
Yeah.
I just, and again, I'm
I'm not holding it against you. I just would like.
I should have said Black and brown people in our city, and I think that's. Fair enough. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean, Sunil. So thank you.
So he did say Black and brown people. He did say that.
Yeah,
I don't think it was exclusionary. I think that what is happening is very extraordinary for Black and brown people and people of color. So it's all people who have color. We tend to be marginalized. That's why this committee has been comprised, so that we're able to combat some of the things that we see happen in the world. We're able to be the ambassadors for inclusion. So I didn't take it like that. I didn't feel like he was trying to exclude anyone else on this panel. And I am standing up for Mayor Baker in that respect.
I agree.
So
it felt a little, Sunil, it just felt a little like he was coming to attack, and that's not what his intent was. And when you made that comment, that's the way it came back, like he was not including you. And I don't want anybody on this panel to ever feel like anybody else is better than or greater than. We all live in this community. We all have to work together. And that's just my spiel, because I am so over the us versus them.
What I was referring to, let me clarify. What I'm referring to is when I say inclusive, it can be color, it can be pronunciation, it can be language, it could be somebody from East Europe, which is saying things differently, or somebody from Mexico, could be something different. So it doesn't, when I'm saying diversity or inclusiveness, I was not only referring to color of the skin, I'm just saying people from everywhere, of different backgrounds, different things they represent, or different cultures. We respect and love and have all of them contribute in a way that together we are stronger. I think that's what I was referring to. And that's our spirit. Our spirit is to say Troy is stronger because we have different people who can contribute fully and feel part of this society, this community, the city, and together we make it a better city. That's what I was referring to. And when I refer to myself, I would say I'm an American with Indian heritage. I wouldn't say I'm an Indian who happens to be living in America, but I'm a citizen. I don't say all that, right? I don't. Okay.
And you should never have to. You know what I'm saying? Because we all belong here. We're a welcoming city. So I always when I hear, Black people are being marginalized, and then somebody says, "Well, what about me?" Well, we're all marginalized, right? We have to pay taxes. I'm sorry, we're marginalized. Yeah, right. So in that respect, we're all the same. And again, I just didn't feel like Mayor Baker was excluding anybody, and I'm just standing up in that space to say we're all here trying to work together to let people know there is unity. And I agree with you as well. Your children matter, my children matter. Everybody on this panel's family matters. right? That's what I'm coming to say.
Just want to add one line. I love Ethan.
Well, then let's stop it right there. No, listen, Navita, I appreciate you coming to speak that, and I do know that Sunil wasn't. I didn't feel. I don't think he was attacking me. It's not that. But I understand that's the difficulty of discussing anything like this, right? This is where we all get hung up. And if we're here in the Global Troy Committee going through it, imagine what the rest of the city's going through. And I think that's kind of the point of why we're here, right? So but anyway, if
I may say something, I think it's a great idea. I don't know how to pick a name. I would like to have Troy Community, Unity, Diversity, whatever, put in there, just, and if it's okay with everybody, I don't know if I can make a motion to think about it, or can we talk about it now, pick a name? I think it's a great idea, I'll be honest with you. As long as we get the community and unity in it somehow.
I think it might help the community understand what we're here for.
Exactly.
If with a little bit different name and a little bit better opportunity to kind of, I don't want to say rebrand because that makes it sound like corporate marketing, but to rebrand and say, hey, we're here and look, we've got these events and this is who we are and this is why we're doing what we're doing. And we've been here all along for the past few years, but we have a new focus now and a new energy. So that's kind of where I was going. But I don't think we should pick a name tonight. I think that's something that could maybe be on our next agenda, recognizing it needs council approval. I want to hear from anybody else as to your thoughts. And maybe I am wrong. I mean, maybe it was chosen with that name for a reason, and I don't know about it. And maybe that's a better idea. But I just happy to hear from anybody else.
This could be our homework. Maybe we can send some suggestions to Sarah and she can present them on the next meeting.
That's a good idea.
Like Arjun, do you have any suggestions? We couldn't hear from him.
I don't think he can hear us. Arjun, can you hear us?
I guess not.
Guess not. It's all right.
He's doing homework.
But I agree, Mayor Baker. I didn't like GTAC when people would say, well, where do you go? You come up with an acronym. I was like, I don't like this. And then I could never really explain how Global Troy fit into diversity and inclusion. I was like, I don't understand, right. But I went with it. So a name change is beautiful.
I guess Danielle's right. We have a homework for next month.
Yes.
Anyone else? Carolina, Allison, Lisa, Saida? Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with Daniela that we should just think and brainstorm and send them to Sarah and discuss our options next month, because I don't know. I can't think of anything on the spot right now.
My only concern would be to just be mindful of other Troy organizations, because when you first mentioned unity, I felt like, isn't there another group that uses that word? And so I was kind of scrolling through things. I didn't see anything, but I like the idea that we can use this month for homework to look into that kind of thing.
For sure. That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
This month, meaning January, because this is almost end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're meeting, January 13th? Is that our next meeting date?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So by January 13th, if we could have it as an agenda item to talk about, maybe we'll have some ideas and some compilations of stuff.
We could send it to Sarah, so then we could vote the name.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, adding on to what Lisa said, I think I have heard of Troy United be used a lot for different organizations. So I like Lisa's point about how we should research a little bit about what's already being used.
Sure. And there's always, we do need to be mindful of that, and mindful of, there's a Facebook group called Troy Citizens United, which is like a Tea Party political group, right? So you just have to be aware of all of that stuff, we just be aware. But I think maybe we would be better served as a community with a name change if we can find the right thing. So Carolina, did you want to add anything? I didn't know if you started or not. Sorry, it's hard to tell sometimes.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. So that's regular business. Other business is next. I just want to give a couple quick updates from the city perspective, and then happy to have anybody else share any other business. The city had our some preliminary budget discussions in November, and one of the items that came up during our meeting, or one of the presentation points, was about adding a staff member for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I thought that pertains to this group, and I wanted to share that if you hadn't heard it already. It's very preliminary as to what that means, and obviously the budget season, we run July 1st through June 30th. So this was discussions for budget starting July 1st, but we're certainly open to looking at something sooner. We had a little bit of a conversation about whether a consultant is a better idea to start with, or if we want to make it a city employee. And we're also talking about some community engagement aspects too. There was a mention of maybe combining, and some saying, no, that's not a good idea. So I just wanted to give everybody an update that is something, Danielle, when you asked about a DEI plan, that kind of fits in line with where we're looking at. But other, Oakland counties has their a specified employee to handle that. Other cities like Sterling Heights next door, they're going the consultant route. I saw a bid they had out for that. City of Troy, the council and city management is recognizing that's something we need to look into for our city and how to best do it. But just wanted to give you that update. The other update I wanted to give you was that I again reminded city management that we want to schedule a joint meeting with Global Troy, if we're still called that by then. So that's on their agenda as well to figure out and to come up with some dates. So look for that. Hopefully, I've asked that it be in the first quarter of 2021, ideally. Things get kind of impacted because of budget season, but I think it's important. So that should be on the horizon too. So that's my other business start. Any other business from anybody that they want to bring up or share some good stories that relate to the board or anything along those lines? We're here for.
I just had a question. I was wondering, maybe this is more for Sarah. Was there any update with the Welcoming Troy? Because I know that you attended some webinars. Is that something that we're going to be able to incorporate into our board?
So I talked with someone named Steve who runs Global Detroit. And right now, because of funding and with COVID just affecting everybody, they're not doing like as much as they were before. And he told me right now they're more focused on like economic development and inclusion, which is something that the city, I think, has kind of talked about maybe in the past, incorporating into like a plan in the future or whatever that turns into. But he actually connected me with, there is a new group that's come out of Global Detroit called Global Oakland. I think it's Global Oakland, some name like that. But anyway, I just communicated with the woman who's over that. So we're going to talk about this group because she was actually going to reach out to me and see what Global Troy was all about. So I'm going to be communicating back and forth with her, just kind of getting more information about what they're doing and, just seeing, how that plays out.
Great.
I'm just a proud dad. My daughter, who's a PharmD pharmacist, she was appointed by the governor yesterday. She received the notice. She's going to be in the pharmacy therapeutics committee. That's an appointment by the governor. So I'm just proud dad.
That's great. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. She's a graduate of Troy IA, so that made it very special.
Sure.
I have a question also. Do we know the results from the census, from the counting?
Census takes maybe the exact time frame, Sarah, but we don't expect preliminary numbers until well into next year. Mm-hmm. It takes a while. So. Okay.
And I think they even extended the time to count because of COVID, so it might not be ready when it normally would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to let you guys know that I have like a couple of tests tomorrow, and I need to like go study for them. So is it okay if I leave a little bit early?
Absolutely, Arjun. Have a
All
good
right.
night. Good luck.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye. Anyone else? All right. Well, were you raising any hands, Neil, or no? Okay.
All right, I have one more thing. If everyone could share the video, sorry, I can't think right now, the video tomorrow on their social media or like with their contacts. It's going to get posted on the Troy YouTube. So at 7:00 you'll be able to see that link. And I think you could probably post the YouTube channel ahead of time and just say that the video will be streamed there.
And he said it's going to be on the Troy channel too? Troy on the TV?
Sarah, do you know, is it being broadcast on the
No, because we're not doing it live. Because it's pre-recorded, it's just going to be posted to the YouTube channel.
Okay. Because I do have it on my Facebook page. So
do we, are we going to share the link? If somebody can send us a link for it, so I can then put it on my social media and say, go to this. And I can do it after 7:00 tomorrow when it gets posted. But it'll be good to get that link so we can forward it.
Sarah, could you email us all out the link, the city's YouTube link, when it gets put up there?
Yeah, I could do that.
I think that would be a good way to do it. That way we can...
Yeah, just forward that.
Yeah. I think it also, are you, Daniela, it would be great if we could send it to the people who participated.
Yes.
Especially if they were part of a church or a place of worship that could then share it with their congregation. The idea is about sharing different faiths and cultures and different ideas. So it'd be great if they could see their own part, but also what the others were too.
Yes, most of them are asking me, where is the video?
Good, very good. That's good to hear, actually, right? Yeah. So I really, I think it's going to be so well received in the community. I'm really excited by it. And I love that you brought it up, and look, now it's done. And I know you worked very, very hard on it, all of you, but I think that's shows the power of what we can do when we actually have a plan and execute it, right?
Thank you. Yes.
A great example, Mr. Mayor. You're doing very good, and appreciate everything you're doing.
Well, everybody is telling you, through COVID, through everything, I still think, our city council, I think our boards and committees, I think everybody's really focused on doing good for our city right now. And we recognize the value in that. And I also want to take a minute to appreciate how quickly Sarah's gotten up to speed and taken a really active and proper participatory role. It's easy to come into this and kind of sit back and watch for a while, but I think you jumped right in and have gotten to know everybody and done a really good job, Sarah. So thank you for your passion. It shows.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying. So if it's a little bit overwhelming, you can tell me to calm down, but
no,
I'm just ready to be active.
The success of this committee is really driven by solid and active participation by the city itself, because they're the ones with the ability to get things out on a mass level as far as publication or communication. And so the combination of having a strong support in the city manager's office, again, not that Drew was a good supporter too, but it's just different time, and very active and involved board and committee members, I think that's a good thing. So
yeah, I commend her for doing what she's doing with the situation, coming in, not being able to meet anybody, just doing it like that.
Sarah, as a reminder, normally we meet down in the conference room at City Hall and we all sit at a table together. You've heard of those kind of meetings, right? Where people actually see each other in person.
I can't wait for those times. It's going to be great.
I like those too. So was there any public comment, Sarah?
There was not. And last meeting, I forgot to mention, public comment can be left through voicemail at 248-524-3567 or an email at gtacpubliccomments@troymi.gov. We'll have to change that if we change our name.
Anything else from anybody tonight?
I'll go for adjourn.
All right. Well, I'll second it. We don't have to do it formally. I just, again, excited about the holiday traditions video. Let's promote it and enjoy it. And, you know, it's not just because it airs tomorrow night doesn't mean that it can't be sent. And, you know, I mean, it's obviously it's got some time to get out there and ruminate. So, all right, everybody. Well,
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays, and thank you to everyone who did the video.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Christmas.
All right.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes. All right. At 7:30, we're adjourned, Sarah. 7:30. All right.
7:30. Got it.
Bye, everybody.